You sneaky, you're running as an outsider.
I am an outsider.
Is this true? Yes, it's true. This man has no dick.
Come on! Come on! Really?
Do you smoke crack cocaine?
Exactly.
Let's give the people what they came for.
Guess what? I got a fever. And the only prescription is more cowbell.
Mr. Prime Minister, will there always be a Canada?
There will always be a Canada.
All right, elbows out.
Elbows up.
It's like people only do things because they get paid. And that's just really sad.
Ready? Are you ready? Get them out of here! Get them out of here! Get the hell out of here!
Enough with the woke shit.
So the answer to that is to stop being stupid.
I can't do it. We'll do it live. Okay. We'll do it live. I'll write it and we'll do it live.
Get your spectral sock out, nerds. It's gonna get good.
Is the federal government stealing from us? Are they sabotaging our industry? Are they taking us down the path to communism? Are they censoring us? Are they stealing our guns from us? Come on, let's go.
Let's fucking go.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's get ready to rumble!
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Unhinged Fringe here on Wednesday nights. A little bit different tonight. We're not doing the weird, creepy, fake intro where we're going to pretend that something's wrong, but everything's fine. We have great news tonight. As Trump says, it's going to be a wonderful show. You're going to love what we're doing tonight. It's wonderful. We got to talk about Danielle. We're going to talk about Alberta. We're going to talk about Mark Carney a little bit too. Mark Carney pulling a 180 on Alberta today. Slimy, terrible guy. I know a lot of people who work in politics. None quite like Mark Carney. He's terrible. I hope you guys are having a lovely day. As you can see, the silver play button is behind me on the shelf. Ladies and gentlemen, I can't believe we actually got it from YouTube after 11 long months of fighting and pushing and saying, where's the bloody award already? We've earned it. Thank you to everybody who has stuck with us and been with this community as we are well on our way past the 100,000 subscriber mark. We'd like to keep making that number go up. I don't know about you guys. I'd love to see a gold plaque on the shelves one day. I know it's a bit of a stretch, but hey, someone can dream, right? We can all dream. Yes, it's true. A referendum is being called. Cats and dogs living together, mass hysteria. It wouldn't be the apocalypse for us to celebrate tonight if we didn't bring in my hetero life mate, Matt. Matt, how are you? Welcome back to the show.
It is a glorious day. Can you hear it? Can you feel it? Because I can taste it. These are literal communist tears that I'm drinking tonight.
The river of tears is running down the streets in Alberta. The lefties are crying. Tom Lukaszuk's kicking his feet and screaming.
It's amazing. I've been watching X all day, and they're just crying or lashing out in a baby rage.
Or lashing out. And you know what? It's all thanks to Tom Lukaszuk. So everybody make sure to thank Tommy in the comments. It's all because of him. It's because the First Nations didn't protest his petition because they like the oh so generous left. The compassionate left.
Gotta be just a giant kick in the nizzos for him.
Oh, we're gonna get into it. We got a lot to unpack
on his
today.
Bus at 4 a.m. That's purring.
It's purring. It's not gonna be purring very long. In fact, some windows will probably get smashed out of complete rage. Guys, get a roll call. Let's get a roll call going on. Let me know where you're watching from. Where are you at in the chat? I think I've heard other channels saying that. Let me know where you're watching from. If it's your first time in here, let me know that as well. Let's get it going right off the cat. Derek coming in from Carson City, Nevada. Thank you so much. Welcome into the stream. It's good to have you in here. We got Shadow coming in from Sherwood Park. Todd, you made me cry with your latest video today. It was very moving for me. Well, I meant it. That award is for the community. You guys earned that by being here and listening to me ramble all day. We couldn't do it without you.
Subscribe to himself 160,000 times. You guys did.
Oh, God, I've done a lot of things to myself a lot of times, but that is one I'm not in charge of. John coming in from Rimby. Welcome in. It's good to have you in here as well. We've got Mr. Creeper coming in from Little Dixie, Oklahoma. Welcome in. Henry Nowak. Am I missing a name there? Henry Nowak. Anybody? Matt, can you look that up? Henry Nowak?
Henry Nowak.
I'm probably going to get scathed for not knowing who that is. King Velduff coming in from Nordegg.
That's the kid who got stabbed by the individual with his sacred dagger.
Okay. Yes. Thank you. Yes. Thank you very much for that, Creeper. Appreciate it. Sorry. There's so many names that get thrown around. Sometimes we lose track.
I was aware
Steve
of the
coming
story.
in from,
Didn't have the name off the top of my head.
Steve coming in from Brazo County. Welcome in. Ann coming in from Edmonton. We got Badass Custom Coatings joining us from Cochrane. Sweets coming in. Fringe, I have your book. Never knew it was you who wrote it. We've wrote 9 others. Go check them out on Amazon. You can find them on our Unacceptable Fringe. Carol and Gerald are joining us from Calgary. Welcome in. Good to see you in here. We got Guy Hodgins tuning in from Medicine Hat. Opinionated Bearded Boomers coming in once again from Arkansas and Arkansas. Delphine's coming in from Fort Mac. E Sharp's coming in from East Central Saskatchewan, better than South Central. Juan Valdez coming in. Jerry and Monica from Calgary. Good to have you. Mike's joining us from Beaver County. Always good to have Mike in here. And you know what? One of our subscribers who came in real early, who's now my co-host, couldn't have done it without him too. So thank you, Mike, for everything.
His bees are absolutely buzzing.
They're buzzing. It's 4 a.m. on the Mike Freedom Honey bee plantation, and the bees are just buzzing. G. Robert, welcome in.
I'm trying to get him to make a mockery video in his bee suit. He won't do it.
He won't do it. I don't want him to. D. Robert coming in from Chicago. Welcome in. We got 18+4 coming in from Lloyd. Mantaflix coming in from Deadwood. We got Bored Canadian from Smith coming in. We got David Brewer joining us from Springfield, Missouri. Kenneth coming in. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it. Mile High Mopar checking in from Calgary. Good to have you. Yep, it's Ashley coming in from Lethbridge. Wesley Snipes is joining us from Lethbridge as well. We got Allie coming in from Calgary. Nelson Cade's joining us from New Brunswick. Lori's coming in from Spruce on Grove. I love that profile picture. Koala Bear's coming in from Calgary. We got Deanie Youngblood coming in from Toronto. Landier coming in from London, Canada. Making sure it's not London, England. Who dat? Well, they're coming in from Edmonton. They're in the house, after all. Bob's coming in from New York City. Rob coming in from Red Deer. Browning coming in from Smoky Lake. We got Chris coming in from Airdrie. Willow's coming in from Fort Sask. Mark's coming in from Grand Prairie. Chuck from Peterborough, Ontario. Ed from Calgary. Savage but sincere from Okotoks. That's nothing savage about Okotoks. I love that town. Pelopon coming in from Millwoods. Wildflower in from Edmonton. Guys, I got to get caught up in the chat. I got to get caught up. We got a lot to unpack tonight. Lots going on. I don't know if you guys heard, there's a little thing happening in Alberta called a referendum. And it's something we've been pushing for so long. And I'm so happy.
What's that? I've never heard of it.
Some people might be foreign to the idea, but we're going to talk about it tonight. I got some supers to get out of the way. Look at this right off the gate. Luca with a $25 super. Congratulations on finally getting the silver. Well-deserved and long overdue. I remember being around the channel when it was all pinball gaming and all sorts and everything else. Here's to many years ahead, Derek. Luca, you've been a huge supporter of the channel for a long time. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Luana coming in with a $5 super. Thank you. Clinton coming in with a $7 super. I just hope her announcement is for the referendum. Oh, hang in there. We got a lot to talk about. Raptor guy with a $5 super. My response to Fat Stalin after his recent comments: Alberta independence is up to the citizens, not effing dictators like you. Wholeheartedly agree. Thank you so much. How dare you? Comes in with a $5 super. How dare you? Congrats, Derek, checking in from booming metropolis of Grantham in a glorious Republic of Alberta. Soon to be. Yes. Thank you for coming in. Thank you for the $5 super. Real Steve Jensen, another huge supporter of the channel. UCP did a press release before committee voted to redact it. Minister of Hospitals, Minister of Finance have resigned from cabinet. Both anti-petition Kenny leftovers. Talk radio calling this a crap show. So two Kenny alkalites, I guess, walked away from the UCP today because the UCP is doing what their voters have asked for.
Nothing of value is lost.
nobody cares. 0 F's given. They're starting to compare this to Pierre, saying, "Oh, look, there's people leaving." Here's the thing, folks: they'll have by-elections and they'll get UCP candidates in those ridings again.
People who suck leaving is not a loss.
Yep, not a loss. You won't be missed. Don't let the door hit your ass on the way out. Doug's coming in with a $10 super. Thank you so much. Raptor guy with a $5 super. They want us to buy Canadian. Well, I prefer Pizza Hut over that disgusting cardboard they serve at Pizza. Don't order any of that stuff. It's full of sodium. It'll kill you. In fact, I was watching a video.
A small pizza shop that doesn't have a chain name. Same with your hamburgers, by the way, too. Like wherever you can go, find a small one that's awesome.
A lot of those chains, when they make their pizza's the number one killer for people. I don't know if people know that. Hey, take it from the fat guy over here. But I was watching a video documentary on YouTube that showed a bunch of pizza places in Canada and the sodium levels that are in their dough in order to keep their products fresh for long periods of time. Panago Pizza. If you follow Panago in the West, I don't know how far east they go, but they're out of BC originally. Actually, one of the healthier options for pizza. They make it fresh and they don't use a lot of sodium in their dough. So if you're going to order pizza, that's, even though it's a little more expensive, it's apparently the place to go. But yeah, don't order from franchises like that. They'll kill you. A Mile High Mopar with a $10 super. I'm excited for the vote, but WTF is the whole alien second coming stuff I keep seeing. That's a distraction. I haven't been paying much attention to it. Karina saying, where is the QR code?
But it's aliens.
So here's the funny thing about the QR code. I had the QR code up on the channel, and the stupid site that I got it from only lets the QR code be valid for so many days, and then it shuts it down if you don't pay for a subscription from the site. So I don't have the QR code up tonight. But if you go to any other one of my videos, folks, right below the video, you'll see a little button that says products or shop or something like that. It'll take you straight to the website. I'm sure one of my mods can post a link to the store in the chat for you guys. In fact, here, I'll do it right now, because speaking of the shop, we do have it open on the old tab. Let me throw that in.
What can you buy there, Derek?
Here's the shop here. If you guys need the shop, the link is in the chat for anybody who's missing the QR code. What can you get from the shop? Well, I'm glad you asked. Right now, while we're getting ready for this petition or the referendum to be announced, over on the shop. Now, people say, oh, I'm clicking below. That doesn't take me. I don't see your shirts. People are looking in the little button below the videos that show the little panes. What you have to do is click on the button that says shop, and it'll bring you to this main page. It's the first ones down. If you're a veteran, they have Veterans for Independence or the I Support Alberta Independence tees. And again, these are up on the shop. Both of them have the 10 reasons Alberta should leave Canada on the back. Please don't watch this pricing. I don't know why it defaults to America for me. But the shirts, these are in US dollars that you're seeing on the page. I don't set these prices. It's made by the company. But you've got, look at this, 7,128 almost 5-star ratings on this product, which is weird because we haven't sold that many. But here it is. I support Alberta independence. And then on the back, it gives you the 10 reasons on the back of the shirt why Alberta would benefit from leaving Canada. The 10th one I always highlighted in my videos. One of my favorites is we will not be the 51st state. We don't want to become the 51st state. We need an independent republic. So it's what we have to push. Go and grab yours from the store now. All proceeds are going either toward the referendum once we know where to donate to, once a date is announced, which most likely will be announced by the time we get the money, because again, it takes like a month to get paid. It'll either be going to the referendum or the vets, or I'll split it down the middle, or all the vet sales go to the vets, etc. We'll figure it out one way or another. But nonetheless, folks, no proceeds are going to us. It's all going to the cause. So go grab them now. Be a walking billboard for independence. Get the conversation started over the summer. We need to get the talk going in major cities. We've got Norman coming into the $2 super from Edmonton. Thank you. Look, Steve Jensen coming in with $100. Take the wife out for dinner and celebrate the silver play button. Steve, you've been so generous to this channel. Thank you so much. I'm humbled. Thank you. Speechless at the same time.
You send me $100 and I'll go buy a wife to take out.
Those ones charge a lot more than $100 from what I hear. I know a guy in my Discord that he can tell you where to find those women.
Oh, I've had that conversation with him.
David Warner with a $5 super. Paul's Pizza. Yeah, Paul's is good. Go to Paul's. That won't kill you. Freedom Pizza. Michael Drader with a $2 super. Damn, Derek, now I'm craving pizza. Well, go get yourself a low sodium pizza. Don't leave the planet too soon. We don't want anybody leaving.
Get a ham and pineapple and tweet a picture of it to Mike.
Before we get started, folks, I do have to bring up something awesome. We got to talk about June.
Brought me in.
I know I brought you in. This is the next awesome thing. We got to talk about June because YouTube's making the stream glitchy. Well, keep hitting that like button, folks. Keep smacking that like button. Get those likes up. Let's show them we're not messing around. June's coming up, and we all know what that means. It's Rainbow Flag Month, Alphabet Month. Just a reminder: President Trump is putting an end to that. So he says. Take a look here at this announcement from President Trump.
Fellow Americans, it is with great pleasure that I am announcing that Pride Month is canceled. Pride is a sin, and we will no longer participate in deliberate moral inversions. Instead, June will be known as Confidence Month, or maybe just June. Who knows? In either case, it'll be a time for us to celebrate legitimate achievements worthy of reflection. I hate to break it to some people, but putting a wiener in a butt shouldn't be on anyone's highlight reel. Very unhygienic. Love is love. That's what they say. However, poop is poop, folks. Poop is poop.
Love is love, but poop is poop. Yeah, Pride Month is canceled. It'll be Confidence Month. No. Happy Confidence Month, everybody.
Don't tell them to go get a lollipop because you know what they're going to do with it.
You know what we could tell them.
Do not come. Do not come.
I'm going to come.
Oh, I see people in the chat saying, did he just say that on TV? No, that's AI. It's AI Trump. Don't listen. I don't want to hear people saying, I'm going to email the White House. I can't believe President Trump talked about confidence.
We get tagged for misinformation.
Oh, here we go with the slopaganda. We're going to get labeled by CTV again. Should we just get down to brass tacks? Let's talk about the referendum, shall we? That's what everybody came here for. Well, yeah, I did, because everybody wants to talk about what's happening in Alberta. Trish came in, though, with a 279 super. Congrats on the silver play button. Great show. Thank you. I appreciate you. I appreciate all you guys. You guys are fantastic. Fantastic. Happy Confidence Month. Let's... This was out just before we started the stream. Maybe we'll get Confidence Month shirts in the channel because we'll have to start making money at some point. But this was sent out. So the UCP, I put out a video today talking about Danielle calling a referendum. I know John Bolton covered it. A few others covered it. And we said, look, she's pushed into a corner. She has to call it. And rumors were swirling around the political sphere of Alberta that Danielle was either going to call it this afternoon or tomorrow when she requests TV time. And I think it's tomorrow because it was leaked through the cabinet meeting or the caucus while it was still open for debate that they were calling for a referendum. And we have to talk about that because there's a couple of factors here that might have people a little bit on edge about the referendum being called. But here's the leaked audio that came out. Global News was running this. Keep in mind, folks, the mainstream media are losing their minds. Their heads are exploding. They just can't.
It's been
handle
glorious
the fact.
To watch.
The months, every little thing that happens now, it's going to be like Trump running for president. They're going to lose it and grasp at straws, clutch their pearls over every little thing that happens now between now and June. And then she's already saying Danielle doesn't respect debate or democracy. And this was right after this happened. Take a listen to the audio.
I would like to move a motion here. I would like to move that the Select Special Citizen Initiative Proposal Review Committee recommend the following. A, that the Alberta Forever Canada Citizen Initiative Policy Proposal tabled by the Speaker in the Legislative Assembly on December 2nd, 2025, Sessional Paper 241/2025, and the committee's report be referred to the Lieutenant Governor in Council for the purpose of a referendum in accordance with the Referendum Act. B, the Alberta...
So they're going to call a referendum based on the Referendum Act. That's the first point. I want to highlight that as we move forward because we'll have to talk about each of those points. But here's the stipulations.
Forever Canada Citizen Initiative policy proposal be appended to the committee's report. C, that the question to be put to the electors in the referendum include an option for Albertans to vote for Alberta to remain in Canada.
Okay, so that's all that matters from that audio clip. So they're voting and debating on a motion where they have requested through the Forever Canada petition that a referendum question on whether or not to remain in Canada is on the October 19th ballot. So for anybody saying, I'm not thinking Danielle's going to call it tomorrow or anything's going to happen, it's pretty much a given at this point. In fact, with all of this media hype and everything going out around it, if she doesn't call it, I think she's going to be in just as much trouble as if she does. So I don't want anybody to be worried about that. I see people mentioning the virtual town hall. So that's the other thing that was called here that I said, if she's announcing it tomorrow, there's a virtual town hall Saturday at 9:30 a.m. for the UCP. Again, I'm assuming they're calling it so that they can answer people's questions, so they can take questions from people, hear all the NDP outrage, drink the tears of those who are upset this is happening. But I've heard people saying, well, Fringe, it's not all great news. Danielle could actually flip the question and make it non-constitutional. And if they use Tom Lukaszuk's petition, essentially the question may not be constitutional binding for us to leave. It may not be binding.
Yeah.
So a lot of people are worried that essentially what Danielle could do is a bait and switch, meaning that the premier and the premier's office can actually form the question. So first off, Tom Lukaszuk's question is not constitutional. The question has to pass the test of the Clarity Act. So the provincial government does not have to they'll use Tom Lukaszuk's petition as a reason to call a referendum, but it's important where I highlighted that they said it's under the Referendum Act, because the premier under the Referendum Act can call a referendum or a vote on anything she wishes in a referendum at any time she chooses, just like Jason Kenney did in the pandemic over transfer payments. So what the provincial government, by the looks of it, is going to do is make the excuse that Tom Lukaszuk's petition was not protested by First Nations, it wasn't held up in the court, and there were over 400,000 signatures that met the threshold. So they're going to use that to push forward on a referendum. So that's where I was saying, make sure to thank Tom Lukaszuk. If Tommy didn't do this, if Tommy didn't do this, we wouldn't be getting the question. Everything would be held up in the courts, and we'd all be screaming at the camera. I'd be having another rant. But what they're going to do and what people are worried about is that Danielle may formulate the question to be a bait and switch that more poses towards her, united sovereign Alberta within a united Canada.
Mm-hmm.
That's not going to happen. It has to be a very firm question. You're going to have to understand that there's going to be a lot of blowback from the federal government here. There's going to be a lot of blowback from the NDPs, from all the lefties. She might as well go balls to the wall with the question or else not even bother at all. Because if she dares to put a knife in everybody's back on her side that wants the question answered sincerely and binding, those people won't vote for her if independence fails. So she's not, again screwing herself.
She's not dumb. Everybody on the other side already doesn't like her. Like, you see the people online freaking out about her, and I got some fun stuff on that in a bit. So she can't, if she betrays everybody on our side, where does she have to go?
Nowhere.
And she's not dumb.
And here's the funny part. Here's a little time for conspiracy theory, folks. Put on your tinfoil hats. Here's one of the things I was talking about with Mrs. Fringe today. Not too long ago, a couple months ago, actually right around the time this petition started collecting signatures, you guys remember those recall campaigns that happened? All of the MLAs that were attempted to be recalled. They tried to get MP Nicolaides or MLA Nicolaides recalled.
That was the one they thought they had the biggest shot at, and it wasn't even close. Yep. They didn't even get 25%.
But here's the thing, folks. They also recalled Danielle Smith. Now, the person who recalled Danielle Smith, I believe, was either a teacher or somebody linked to the ATA. But they didn't really amass more than, I think it was 1,000 signatures. There really wasn't that much behind it. In fact, I don't recall them going out and knocking on doors and trying to get signatures. I was talking to Mrs. Fringe and put on the old tinfoil hat and said, what if, hypothetically, and this is a very strong maybe, what if this was done on purpose? What if a recall was organized while those signatures were being collected on the basis that they knew it was going to fail, so that Danielle Smith couldn't be recalled again until her next election, so that she could hold a referendum? Because here's the thing, folks, you can only recall one time. And if it fails, it fails. Now, Danielle Smith's recall failed gloriously. It didn't even come close. I don't even think they amounted 10% of the vote, of the signatures required. So when you think about it, what if they did this on purpose so that Danielle could call the referendum and be safe? If she wasn't recalled already, think about tomorrow. Think about her announcing that referendum. She goes out and says, we're going to hold the question October 19th. Naheed Nenshi and everybody would have been, recall her right now. Get her out of here. Let's get people together. Let's get unions together. Let's put it all front and center. Let's make sure Danielle's out of a job. What if they did that on purpose? What if it was all behind the scenes because they made sure it failed so that Danielle was safe from a recall? If that were the case, and I'm not saying it is. So again, this is tinfoil hat time. That would be unbelievable.
That's
40
like
chess.
That's like 7D chess.
7D chess. But I was thinking about it in the old night. These are the things I think about, folks, when the power gets cut off. And I was just sitting around debating it last night saying, you know, it would all be too perfect if that was the case. But nonetheless, a referendum is being called. Now, we got Rise of Alberta coming in.
Oh, sorry.
I feel bad because I'm not letting Matt talk a lot, but we got to get all this out.
We'll get it in there. We got a lot of facts to spit.
A lot of facts to spit. Here's Rise of Alberta breaking. The committee reviewing Tom Lukaszuk's Forever Canada petition has voted to recommend Alberta be put on an independence-related referendum question on the October 19th ballot, as we heard in the audio. Cabinet will now decide whether it proceeds and what the final wording will be. So for anybody worried about Lukaszuk's petition, that's the reason I wanted to highlight this. We're not using Lukaszuk's question. We're using the validation of his signatures as an excuse for the Premier to use the Referendum Act to call the question on separation. So, and they're still going to appeal the decision made by the courts on Stay Free Alberta. They have to. They're not walking away from that. So this is what allows it to go forward while all that's tied up in the courts. My guess is the Stay Free Alberta may even go to the Supreme Court. But nonetheless, it can't hold.
Which is also completely loaded with Liberal appointed judges.
Yep. Speaking of Liberal appointed judges, we have the human phallus, David Cockroach, David Cockring, whatever you want to call him.
Giant.
The giant douche. United Conservative. Now look at I always like highlighting the post because the lefties are already losing it. The United Conservative Party put out a statement claiming a special committee had voted to recommend a referendum question for this October, offering Albertans a choice on whether to remain in Canada. But the release went out while the committee was still meeting and actually hadn't finalized anything. And underneath, all you see is comments saying, recall Smith now, get her out of here. That's what I was talking about. Listen to the audio here in this. They're already hedging their bets. And they're going to break down as soon as it gets called. Here we enjoy this, folks. We've been waiting months for this. Take a look.
Speaking of Danielle Smith, we're going to turn now to some events that just unfolded in Alberta. The United Conservative Party put out a statement saying a special committee had voted to recommend a question for a referendum this October, an option for residents to vote for Alberta to remain in Canada or not. But that release was sent out while the committee was still meeting and hadn't finalized things.
Oh, this is going to be a little bit awkward for the government members because I understand that the UCP have already issued a release about a referendum being called, and that's already been released to media. So a little awkward since we're still debating the motion, but perhaps that is because this committee has always been treated like a sham.
It continues on with quotes from you, Mr. Chair, while we are debating this in this committee.
Why do these people always look so miserable? Like anybody
who runs, to her voice.
Yeah, I'm just so upset.
How could you?
How dare you? I just like, and they always just like, they look like the kind of people you wouldn't want to meet anywhere on a dating scene. Like they're just horrific troll-like people all the time, whether they're liberals or NDP. And I'm not trying to judge folks, but really, look at the Liberal Party of Canada. They're all horrendous. They all look like they just crawled out of bed. And they're always offended by everything.
Yes,
Like
they have that whiny way of talking. Like Freeland is the worst. Mr. Speaker. Oh,
like
God.
one of those people
So
who
glad I
gets
don't have
all
to hear her
offended, like
anymore.
somebody just farted in the room and they're like, "Oh, I can't believe you do that. Oh my God." Like that's what they remind me of. But they're upset. They're upset because the audio leaked while they were talking about it. So I seen Pretty Weird Duck here saying, "I can't find the announcement on X. Where is it?" They haven't made it yet. They haven't made it. All of this leaked. And they're mad because they were still in debate. What's really funny, folks, is this is what happens when you have a majority government. You can do whatever you want in committees and you can vote on whatever you want. The UCP are going to decide to move forward on a referendum, and they don't need the blessing of the NDP.
A crushing majority, not a close majority.
So when you look at C11, when you look at everything happening in Ottawa right now with them shutting down cameras in committees and everything else, while they tell you, oh, this is a democracy. Well, how does it feel to get a little taste of your own medicine? How does it feel to see a little bit of what corruption looks like when parties can go and leak this information and say, hey, guys, it doesn't matter what you say in this debate. We're voting for it anyways. I think in a form, this is the UCP showing the federal government what it feels like to get bent over and screwed instead of listening to the voices of others and instead of taking people's opinions into account from other parties.
They should form a committee to talk about why the committee was interrupted.
Yes. And then they'll form a committee on that committee to find out why that committee didn't find anything that they can use against them.
Point of personal privilege.
Yes, get your privilege cards out. Naheed Nenshi is already on Twitter going, this is a travesty to politics, that they won't listen to the whole debate. It shows you that Danielle Smith has no, what is it? I want to make sure I don't misquote him here. I don't want to misquote him. Where's Nenshit? Look, all I have to do is start typing in Nenshit and he pops up. He put it out here. The UCP clearly has no respect for our democracy, he says. Here it is here. And of course, he's showing the same audio we just showed. Where I can't believe that you guys would do this without us being out of committee yet. You're terrible. You're giving
this
all.
This is the same thing as part of our system that I complain about all the time, is that you elect the person to sit in that chair. And once the people are in those chairs, they're allegedly supposed to do what you want, which is, whatever. Maybe they do, maybe they don't. But this is a taste of their own medicine. This is exactly what Alberta has been getting from the federal government for decades.
Yes. And that's
the UCP
exactly why
have a majority. They don't need the NDP's permission to do anything. You can debate all you want, but in the end, they have double the seats or whatever it is. So you can go suck an egg.
And this is why normally, folks, I'd be like, look, if I'm going to complain about one side, I want it to be fair on both sides. But I'm actually enjoying this. I'm enjoying it because it's showing them, hey, this is what you've been doing to us for over 10 years. With your locked in governments, with your coalitions.
Mm-hmm.
We haven't been able to get anything done because you guys just say, nah, every time you got something that makes sense, we're just going to go over it. Now, rightfully, I'd say they should be listened to, and that should be up for debate. But we all know what they're debating about. They're going to debate about Tom Lukaszuk and say, well, Tommy didn't ask for a referendum. Just a reminder, folks.
And if we get enough signatures, which I have no doubt in my mind that we will have a referendum in this province.
Oh, that's right. He said we will. We will. Oh, should we play it again? Should we play it again?
And if we get enough signatures, which I have no doubt in my mind that we will have a referendum in this province.
A referendum in this province. And a referendum we shall have. Liz Carson, El Gringo Grande coming in. Free memberships at 750 likes, folks.
Well, it's
hit
a
the
new
button.
profile pic with the sombrero there.
I love it. I love it. I love the sombrero. I got to get a video clip of El Gringo coming in. We got to get that for Carson. But really, folks, Tommy is quite upset about this because when you look at his application, let's bring that up, shall we? Because everybody's going,
upset.
Tommy didn't ask for a referendum. He asked for the legislative change or whatever it was, legislative policy. Corey Morgan says Lukaszuk signed a document that's publicly available showing he wanted a referendum. There he was on video saying he wanted a referendum. There are old videos where he says he wants a referendum. Now he's blatantly lying in legacy media interviews and outlets who won't call him out. Well, that's because he's starting a political party. He's going to be Danielle's opposition. Take a look at this. Down here on the yellow line, therefore, we as represented by the signatory and applicant below propose a referendum.
Literally,
on the following
word
question.
Referendum on his paperwork.
On the following question, do you agree that Alberta should remain in Canada? And as Premier Smith says, that question has a yes and no answer. So you can't sit here and say anymore that you don't want it. Here it is. Duties regarding policy proposal. The committee to which a policy proposal is tabled shall, within 90 days of the proposal being referred to it in the Legislative Assembly in that sitting, or if not then within 15 days after the commencement of the next sitting, either A, table a report with respect to the policy proposal at the earliest possible opportunity, or table a report recommending that the policy proposal and report be referred to the Lieutenant Governor and Council for the purpose of a referendum in accordance with the Referendum Act. You signed for a referendum, Tommy. Whether you intended to or not, you signed for a referendum. For anybody who doesn't know, we'll educate you a little bit on Tommy, and then we got to get some super chats. A little bit of information courtesy of Squid for Tom Lukaszuk. Here we go.
In the suburban wilds of Alberta, a remarkable creature roams freely, the triggered honey badger, Politicus indignatus. Once a cabinet minister, now a professional defender of sacred national symbols, this territorial mammal survives almost entirely on Twitter outrage and recycled press releases. Our honey badger recently launched the Forever Canadian campaign. A spectacular display of patriotic preening designed to attract media attention and ward off rivals who dare question the sanctity of the Ottawa food chain. But trouble brews in the prairie ecosystem. A competing species, Stay Free Alberta, has erected its own nests, curious structures featuring banners, barbecue smoke, and, most offensively, bouncy castles. Our triggered honey badger finds this intolerable. To him, the bounce of a castle represents enticement. The air blower, an act of separatist defiance. Within hours, a complaint has been filed, not against corruption or waste, but against excessive joy expressed at referendum signings. This ritual, known scientifically as performative patriotism, allows the honey badger to reassert dominance while maintaining plausible deniability. As the sun sets over Alberta, the honey badger prepares for another long night, defending the maple leaf from imaginary threats, one Facebook post at a time. For more information on the triggered honey badger, contact the Canadian Wildlife Service in Ottawa.
Yikes. Thank you to Squid too. He's often in the chat. I don't know if he's in there tonight, but thank you to Squid for putting that out. Great, glorious video. I loved it. Love every minute of it. Let's get to some tubes
right there.
Well, let's get to some supers, and then Matt, you've got some stuff about Tommy we got to talk
I
about.
have many fun things.
Michael Drader with a $2 super. I host a chat room where June will be Pride FC month.
Awesome.
You don't want Confidence Month?
How about we just keep calling it June and everybody just celebrates whatever the hell they're into?
Or maybe we'll just call it June. How about that? It just stays as June. Real Steve Jensen with $5. Red Deer Gazette polled today if we should have a referendum. The last I checked at 5:30, 290 yes to 98 no. Yeah, the numbers are coming out, folks. Mike Freedom Honey with a $5 super. I may have to undouche of the week Tommy on Monday. No, don't do that. He's still a douche. We're in unknown territory.
Forever.
Thank you for the super, Mike. Kevin with a $5. How will Pierre and the federal Conservatives react to Alberta independence referendum? Against or neutral? What consequences are for them?
They're not going to like it very much.
They're not going to like it very much. I got to be honest. They're going to think it's terrible. They're going to ignore it. They're going to avoid it. They're just going to smile and laugh and say, that's not going to happen.
Half of the federal Conservative seats are in Alberta. So what do you think happens to the Conservative Party federally when Alberta's out? They're both.
I reached out to Pierre's team today and I said, listen, guys, I know you don't like talking about Alberta separation, but why don't we have Pierre come on the channel and I'll ask him legitimate questions about how he thinks Albertans would be satisfied with a conservative government, or what Pierre could do to try and quell the outrage that Albertans have right now. And they said, nope, nope,
Yeah.
he's not coming on the show.
Hard
He
no.
will not talk. He will not talk about Alberta separation. Really? Well, then, you know, what's he doing there? Like, Pierre, I know your guys watch the show. I know they passed the show on to you. Come on the channel. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. I'm not going to give you a hard time. I'm going to ask you legitimate questions. I want to ask, what is it you can do if you want Canada to stay together that's going to convince over 700,000 Albertans, technically 300,000 if you want to go by the Stay Free petition only. But what is it that you could offer Albertans that's better than independence? What is it you could do to convince us it's time to stay and that the current shitty system that we live under is going to work for us? I'd really love an answer to those questions. But the problem is, folks, the reason they say no, the reason they say he can't come on the channel and talk about it is because they don't have those answers. It would just be more word salad. We all know the truth. Independence is the only path forward. Now, it's no swipe at Pierre. I hope the rest of Canada gets him.
That and coming on this channel will just absolutely infuriate all the people he's trying to win over in Mega City 1 there.
Yep.
Like, whatever he said, just him existing on this channel would just inflame the TDS people into madness.
I sincerely hope the rest of Canada gets Pierre Poilievre. I hope he becomes Prime Minister of Canada as we get a Republic of Alberta. I think he's the guy for the job. He's the best of what they have to offer. However, there's nothing you can do to give us a good reason to stay at this point. When you think about the treatment we've got from the federal government, and we'll get into that a little later in the show. Stick with us for that one. David Warner, $5 super. If she did that on purpose, I would love to see the look on Carney's face. Priceless. We're going to see a look on Carney's face too. Again, hang in there, folks. We got lots to unpack here. Teresa with a $5 super. I think they were just full of themselves with the recalls, and now it's backfired on them, just like Tommy. I don't know. Maybe, maybe not. Wouldn't it feel weird that it matches up that maybe the recall was done just so that she couldn't get hoofed as soon as she called the referendum?
Wouldn't that be weird?
Oh, yes. Wouldn't that be weird? Snow with a $2 super. Oh, the NDP tears. If those, F those treasonous douchebags. Yep.
Liberal
Enjoy those
tears.
tears. Enjoy those tears. Teresa with a $2 super. It was probably Tommy. He was in the gallery. There you go. There you go. Thank you so much. Major Flip with a $5 super. Your NDP women look just like our liberal Democrats. They're all fugly. Yeah, I think it's a common trait. I think it's like a prerequisite to run for those parties.
Listen, just because you're really, really ugly doesn't mean you're another gender.
Carson, El Gringo Grande, coming in, gifting 10 unacceptable Fringe memberships to the Patriots Club. Welcome to all 10 of our new members. Wow, very generous, Carson. Thank you so much. Marianne Drinkwater becoming a member for 6 months. I don't see any equity cards flashed at that committee meeting. What color was Nenshit's card or little Tommy the Commie's card? Nah, they're not getting cards anymore. We're done. We don't do that here. Real Steve Jensen, $20 super. Thank you. A discussion is growing that think Carney is trying to take resource rights from the province. 1930s transfer agreement with Heritage Fund and 30% land conservation plan. Another reason we need to leave and fast. So
there are many.
My guess, and again, I'm no lawyer. Maybe we try and get Keith back on the channel to talk about it. I'm assuming they would have to make amendments constitutionally to the Transfer Agreement Act, and that would involve Alberta's participation in order for them to do that. So I'm not sure. The discussion is growing, but I'd be curious what the law states. Keith Wilson would be good because he does handle land titles with his constitutional lawyer practice. So maybe we'll try and get Keith back on the channel to talk about that. Maple Kitty with a $2.79 super. Pierre, let's have a beer about it. Yeah. And I don't want to give him a hard time. Like, I get along with Pierre. I get along with his people still, even though we talk about Alberta on this channel. I just love to sit down and like say, look, dude, I don't want to humiliate you. I just want to know, like, what could you offer Albertans that sways them from independence? Nothing is working for us right now. And if he says, well, if I become prime minister, yeah, but how do you do that when Toronto won't allow it to happen? That's the problem. And anything you do, even with a super majority government, would just be undone in 4 years when you get booted out by all the people in Toronto. The system doesn't work. It's not that Pierre doesn't work. The system doesn't work. That's the problem. Onda with a $20 super. I'm worried if Smith uses Lukaszuk's constitutional question on the ballot, a majority vote on secession will fail. The Alberta government will have no duty to pursue the consequence. The question wasn't worded through the Clarity Act. Okay, so Honda, and maybe this was put in before we were talking about it. What they've mentioned in the audio is for the Premier to enact a referendum question for October 19th off the Referendum Act, meaning the government is going to form the question. They're going to use Tommy's signatures, but they can form the question on whatever they want. Danielle could put 10 questions about independence on an October 19th ballot. I don't believe that Danielle is going to screw Albertans by trying to make it the sovereign Alberta within a united Canada kind of question. I think she's going to make it a pretty legitimate question at this point because the knives are out. The NDP are after her. The federal government's going to be after her. They're all coming after her. She's one of us at this point if she calls it tomorrow with a legitimate question. She's putting it all on the line. So we owe it, if she does that, we owe it to her to make sure that this referendum succeeds. That's the only option. And if it fails, we make sure that we vote for her in the next election, and that because otherwise we don't get another shot at this. We don't get another crack at it. I don't think
oh, sorry, you got more supers to do.
I got two more to get out of the way. Shadow with a $5 super. Garnet Genesis is hosting an event tomorrow night. I wonder how much the conversation will be Danielle's announcement. Who cares? Garnet Genesis federal. He's a Fed. I don't care what he has to say. He doesn't have any pull in Alberta. And quite frankly, when we had him on this channel, he was quite rude and disrespectful. I really don't give a damn what Garnet Genesis has to say.
I don't even know who the hell that is.
Oh, he's some hack out of Sherwood Park. Carney, being a member for 9 months. Did you see the 2 hit pieces today by David in Northern Perspective? I think they posted today would really drive the separation wedge. I haven't seen them yet. No, I try to watch any of the content I can in the evenings once YouTube is wrapped up for the day. A lot of the days used for research and things like that. So I haven't seen it yet. I'll check it out. Yeah, Sherwood Park. Yeah, he's out of Sherwood Park.
Sherwood Park.
Sherwood Park. Yeah, I can't. I'm sorry. I didn't mind Garnet Genesis before, and then he came on the channel chewing gum, acting like a jerk, and I just said, you know what? I got no respect for that guy. No respect. Oh, I got no respect. Matt, what do we got on Lukaszuk?
I don't have anything on Tommy, actually. I don't know where.
I thought you were talking about his. Didn't we have something about the party he was posting, or?
No, I didn't.
Okay, I thought we did. Well, let's get into the government. Let's get into why the government's bad.
First, I don't know how many of you guys saw this today, but
yep, this was in today's video.
Napoleon Dynamite, Alberta NDP Janice Irwin posted this picture of Danielle and calling her a public enemy. I don't know about you guys, but I feel like that's incitement.
Have you seen the video of the guy she got that from?
I saw. I'm not going to play that. I don't want to hear.
No,
this.
We had the video. He calls Danielle an effing bad guy from WW2 all over again,
oh my God.
Like constantly, over and over and over again. He says that she needs to shut the F up and all this other stuff. And he was from BC. Yeah, he's a BC grifter. There you are. And there's Janice Irwin getting his shirts.
So here's Janice again. We are hearing that Danielle Smith is going ahead with a separatist referendum in October. So despite the fact that she never campaigned on this, she has no legal basis, false, and she faces much opposition from so many Albertans, false, First Nations and Canadians across the country. We don't care what Canadians across the country think. This is a conversation between the citizens of Alberta and their government. She still plans to proceed. A referendum on separation will do more damage to our economy, false. It will break Canada apart. Okay, that's true. We will fight this every step of the way. Be loud, Alberta. Our country depends on it. And then Mrs. Freedom Honey kicking in there. If there's no support for a referendum, then how does having one break the country apart? Sounds like someone's nervous.
Yep.
And I said,
they really hate democracy.
Yeah, we're democracy. They're the danger to our democracy. We would like to have a vote about independence. No, not like that.
You know what's funny is she's standing in his school while showing that picture.
Right?
Bring up the photo again.
Oh, hang on. What did I do? There you go.
Scroll back up. I want to get the full picture there. She's standing. Go down. Click on the picture. Click on it. Click on. Blow it up. Look at that. She's standing in a school. Janice Irwin is one of those crazy creeps that believes your kids should be allowed to read adult books in schools with suggestive sexual themes. She believes that your kids should be allowed to chop off their junk. And she doesn't think that parents have a say in what their kids believe.
That's always been so crazy to me. Like, you have to be 18 to get a tattoo. But, you know, 14,
or join the military.
You want to chop your stuff off? Go ahead. Like, that's insane to me.
It's ridiculous. So she stands there in a school holding up this shirt, calling Danielle Smith the public enemy, all while pushing this woke narrative. What kind of representative is that for the province? Your politics aside, like, could you imagine if a UCP member did this about Nenshi in a school in front of teachers, students, whatever? And I don't know if students were in the classroom when this was done. All things fair. However, it just shows low class to me and disrespect for our government. No formalities being taken here of saying, well, there's etiquette when being in government. I just, what you'll notice about kids is that anytime I see a kid who tells me, oh, I'm trans, or I'm ists, or is it whatever they call them now. Yeah, I get it. But when they say I'm non-binary or I'm this or that, the kids don't get these things in their heads until a creepy adult puts those discussions or thoughts in their head.
Yep.
Kids don't think like that. And she's part of that cult that come in and tell kids to question their own bodies, to question their reality, to not enjoy their childhood.
Like, being 13 or 12, whatever it is these days, when, you know, you're going through puberty, your body's going nuts, your hormones are all weird. That's weird enough as it is, without adding all of this into it.
It's funny because, you know, my daughter came home from school and said one of her friends was non-binary. My daughter's 11. And I said, yeah, you know what? And I said to my wife, she'll be non-binary until she starts getting interested in boys. Yes. Then all that'll change. And I feel so bad for kids that get put through that crap. And I always question, you know, what's the parents doing? She says, well, her mom's always working and it's just her and her mom. That's why she feels so. She's obviously been influenced by somebody, and her mom's too busy to notice or care or get involved. And it's like, we're damaging our youth. Anyway, I don't want to spend the whole show talking about this.
Yeah.
But let's bring in why the government is hypocritical and why Alberta needs to go. Okay. Everybody who thought this MOU that was announced last week, everyone said, oh, well, it's great for Alberta. Do you remember people saying it was a win for Alberta? I know Mark Nixon had a funny, sarcastic post. Here's the thing. Was the goalpost just moved? It was moved from the beginning. Here's Mark Carney today in British Columbia. Discussion on a potential pipeline to transport at least 1 million barrels of low-emissions Albertan crude to the Asian market. The pipeline will only advance with the following prerequisites being met. This comes less than a week after it was announced. And didn't we say that this was going to be the case? Didn't we say that this was the whole... Well, they said, oh, Alberta got a pipeline. We didn't get nothing. In fact, Danielle Smith had posted all over her socials, construction to begin as early as September 2027. Meanwhile, UAE can get a pipeline up by next year. Here's what Mark Carney's requiring in order for that deal to go through. Meanwhile, by the way, they're getting their industrial carbon tax from Alberta. Number one, Pathways carbon capture. Can't forget about that $16.5 billion to Brookfield.
Who builds those carbon capture machines, by the way?
Oh, Brookfield.
Oh, wow. Really? That's crazy.
$16.5 billion. So Mark Carney needs to ensure his $16.5 billion with the Pathways carbon capture. 2, it requires British Columbians to share substantial financial and economic benefits.
Transfer payment
so they have
2.0.
Yep. 3, fully respecting duty to consult under Section 35, and that includes whether to designate a project being in the national interest. That includes conditions placed on the project and includes ensuring Indigenous economic benefits, partnerships, and opportunities for co-ownership through blood guilt. which means it will never happen.
So funny personal
So it now
story.
says, hang on. It says we now have to consult with First Nations if a pipeline project is to be of natural interest. Matt, hold that thought. I want to play the clip of Carney just to make sure we're not told we're spreading misinformation again.
Listen to his stupid
Unfortunately, we do, because I don't want the channel getting slapped down again. Here we go.
Discussions on a potential pipeline to transport at least 1 million barrels a day of low-emission Alberta crude to Asian markets. The pipeline will only advance. Thank you. There we go.
Look at him smiling like an asshole while these seals clap, because he's in BC getting his points back because his party is threatening to walk away. He'll lose his majority. So now he's saying, hey, jokes on Alberta, everybody. We get their industrial carbon tax dollars. Meanwhile, the pipeline will never get built, which is what we said from day one. While he sits there and smiles like somebody's sticking a zucchini up his ass.
I'd like to welcome the Pathways to this. The pipeline will only be advanced with the following prerequisites being met. And the first is the building of Pathways, renamed the Oil Sands Alliance. This is the world's largest carbon capture, utilization, and storage project. It will make Alberta oil amongst the lowest carbon intensity per barrel produced. In other words, on a scope 1, scope 2 basis.
Hang on 1 second before we continue.
Secondly,
give me a second. Who in the world cares if their oil is there somebody out in the world be like, man, this oil price is crazy, but I'm glad we can pay it just as long as we have low carbon oil. We really need low carbon oil. Nobody is asking for this. Literally zero people other than this guy and his buddies.
I did some searching into that, and I've asked AI, I've asked other GPTs and whatnot, is there a benefit to decarbonized oil? And it said, yes, potentially there is, but it takes a very long time to get to any sort of benefit, and the costs outweigh the benefits, and it's on an if. So it's one of those far out there ideas. Like you might as well get Al Gore in here talking about man, bear, pig. Like it's one of those things that doesn't make any sense, but it makes people a lot of money.
Yep.
You'd have to get the entire world to agree to it, which you never will with the UAE. You'll never get it out of Saudi Arabia. You'll never get it anywhere. Yes, it is an oxymoron, but I'm talking about the process, the process of decarbonized oil. There are potential benefits, but it's like talking about cold fusion. It's just not, it's not there, right? It's the same nonsense as talking about all electric vehicles. It doesn't make fiscal sense. So it's nothing more than a get-rich-quick scheme at this point, in my opinion, and I have to say that because, again, we don't want to get hammered for misinformation. I'll let him wrap up with his reasons this isn't going to happen.
Requires that British Columbians should share substantial economic and financial benefits from projects that include or impact them. And thirdly, requires fully respecting Canada's duty to consult under Section 35 of the Constitution. Non-negotiable. And that includes whether to designate a project being in the national interest. That includes the conditions placed on the project. And it includes ensuring Indigenous economic benefits, partnerships, and opportunities for
Okay, shut up. Shut up. I can't anymore. I just, so
anyway.
The problem here is, by the way, folks, I didn't consult with First Nations before doing this live stream, so I'm sure they're not going to be very happy with me. But
acknowledgement. We forgot to
we won't be doing an acknowledgement for blood guilt either. Here's the problem. Here's the problem. We already know coastal First Nations in British Columbia, who aren't even a real tribe, have come out and said they're not going to allow this to happen, come hell or high water. So everybody who's going to talk about the MOU might as well say it's shut down, it's nothing. This is the proof in the pudding. So even if the government comes back, or if the lefties come back and say, oh, you guys just don't want to consult with First Nations, it's over, it's gone, it's done. This clip of Mark Carney should be enough for every Albertan to now say, there is nothing Canada is going to give us. In fact, as Mark Carney spouts these conditions today, I'm curious if Premier Smith was aware of these conditions when they signed this last week, or if these conditions just popped up today. I would like to know if those conditions were in the original agreement, because we all know the First Nations won't come to the table.
The issue I have too is, let's say this one pipeline was completely unencumbered. Like, we're starting building this next month. This is one pipeline. You're still under the federal government. Like, hey, we would like to build another one. You have to beg the feds permission. We'd like to build a refinery. We'd like to do something else. We'd like to do this. Yep. You have to beg the feds permission. You have to consult.
Kiss the ring.
You have to do a land study for environmental impacts. And you have to do that. Like, the whole point is to get out from having to ask some... No, I'm trying not to swear. Get some butthead's permission in Ottawa to do anything with your own resources that exist under your own goddamn feet.
Yeah.
Sorry, I swore again.
We got Bernadette coming in. Consult equals money. Well, I'm glad you brought that up. I'm glad you brought that up. First off, let's get to David Eby, because he was whining today. He was whining today. Well, the premier's getting all these things, and I don't get nothing. I didn't get anything.
What about me? What about David?
What about all those days I wore knee pads? Here, let's get to what David Eby's problem is, because he goes to call our premier a separatist.
Oh, I'll tell you what David Eby's problem is.
Oh, well, hold on, because this kind of rhetoric for a premier to call another premier, I wouldn't be having it. This is where I want to see Danielle bounce back. I want to see her come back like Ralph Klein and start saying, you know what, Mark? You know what, David? Screw the MOU, screw everything else. Alberta's going its own way. That's what I want her to come out and say tomorrow when she holds her press conference. She's not going to do it. But this is where her time to shine is. This is her time to put herself in the history books forever and be that balls to the wall, no guff premier. Listen to the way he talks about her here.
The message to the Prime Minister is simple. This country cannot work if separatist premiers, others get all of the attention of the federal government. And those provinces where we're standing squarely behind Canada, where we're fighting for Canada, where we couldn't be more pro-Canadian in the projects we're advancing, where we're left out of the discussion. That's a very straightforward message from me to the Prime Minister, and I'm hopeful he agrees with that, because we have huge projects here in the province that are going to employ thousands and thousands of British Columbians and Canadians from across the country. It's going to raise the national GDP. It's going to raise the value of the Canadian dollar.
Yeah, I'm not even going to let you finish there, Chacho. Nothing of what you get. Aren't you the guy who was just giving away everybody's land illegally? David Eby, do me a favor.
Go ahead and call your dads, tell them about your alternative lifestyle as a gay communist, and then who knows, maybe eat a lollipop. I don't know what flamers do with their time, but I'd imagine it's something along those lines.
Definitely along those lines.
The Conservatives provincially in BC have been surging lately. That guy's days are numbered.
They're gone. He's gone. David, I actually have one question for you.
Why are you gay?
Who says I'm gay?
You are gay.
Definitely. Definitely. Here's the problem I have with the whole thing, folks. And here's what you've been waiting for. Here's what you've been waiting for. First Nations. The grift never ends. Never
look at those
ends.
Numbers.
So we all know Moose on the Loose stuck his head in and started looking at Chief Allen Adam and what he takes in. You guys remember First Nations? They don't have clean drinking water, right? They're saying that their people are mistreated. We don't have clean drinking water. We're disrespected. We need new deals.
The
we
oil
need to
sands
protest
gave his people cancer.
oil. Yeah, the oil gave us cancer. We're all dying. Everything's horrible. Here we go. Let's start with this one first.
Make it bigger.
I'm going to. Here's John Tompkinson first stating what this is. First Nations are well funded to finance ongoing court challenges to oppose projects benefiting Alberta's economy. I did some digging. The Minisou First Nations in Fort Chipewyan has 172 residents. Remember that. Their chiefs don't live on the land with them. They've received $341.6 million from the federal government and 375 transfers. Take a look at this.
For 145
Take a look at this.
people.
Here's what the band gets. You remember me saying the band leaders take all the money? That the band leaders get everything while their people live in squalor? This is why polls are showing that over 49% of First Nations support independence. They need a new deal. The grift, folks, never ends. These are from the federal government. These are your tax dollars. $341 million. all going to this just one First Nation. One First Nation. And people say, well, we don't know what that's for. We don't know what it's for.
It's enough to do it's enough to do whatever they want, really.
I know I'm going to pronounce this nation wrong, but why did Samson Cree First Nation and Masquakas, Alberta, receive $41,000 from the federal government for consultations on coal mining effluent regulations when the nearest coal mine is 110 kilometers away in a different watershed? First Nation consultation comes with payments. Our Alberta First Nations consulted on Atlantic cod fisheries. Take a look at this. $40,000 going to Cree First Nations for consultation. This is why they don't want you voting for independence. This gravy train stops as soon as we get it.
I did some math. The 345 million for the reserve that has 145 people on it. That's 2.379 million per person.
Unbelievable.
Per person.
And these are the ones saying, oh, you can't have a vote on democracy, which doesn't involve us, by the way, because a democratic referendum has nothing to do with policy. Policy is what gets any kind of consultation on First Nations, like pipelines, like other things. You don't have a declaration on democracy. You can't stifle democracy. Look at this. Time for Albertans to demand a forensic audit on every reservation in Alberta. They have demands, so do we. Let me, you know what? Let me, hang on. Oh, let's open the image in another tab so I can zoom in. Here we go. This is the Enoch Cree Nation. This is just their expenses, folks. This isn't the people. Here's the chief and council, Chief Cody Thomas. The band, $229,999. Be $230,000. Travel, $77,8750. Comps, $34,583.15. Vacation, $46,442.31.
I wish I could go on a vacation that cost 46 grand. Where can I do that?
Where the hell is he going to get feathers for his hat? I don't like this one frickin' bit. Here's a counselor, same thing, $199,500. Travel, $1,600. Comps, $18,500. Vacation, almost the same as the chief, $40,283. Another counselor, for 1 year, and this is 1 year, folks, all down the board, 12 months. And by the way, it's $199,500 all the way down for each of them.
And that's not even their salary?
That's not even their salary. This is just what the band gets.
Huh.
Travel, they've all got close to, although the bottom one has 7,000 sitting in there. The rest of them have between $1,600 to $2,500 a year. Their comps range from $18,000 all the way up to $28,000, and their vacations range from $53,000 or $54,000 all the way up to what's the lowest here? $32,000. And by the way, this counselor, John Thomas Jr., took more in vacation than their own chief.
So I understand what a comp means when you're like in a hotel in Vegas. They comp your room or they comp your booze because they want you to keep gambling. What is a count? Like, what does a comp mean for them? I don't even know what that means.
Blood guilt. Blood guilt.
That's all of it.
Oh, you're on my land. This is my land. You give me free stuff. I took a check for $50,000 from Tides to push down the oil in this province, so I get the money. Stop it. Stop it. Shut them all down. Get them out of here. And people think, well, Fringe is so racist. I'm not racist. I'm sick and tired of digging into my pockets and saying that there's nothing in there because we're giving it all to these assholes. I'm sick and tired of them coming out and saying, oh, you're not allowed to have your votes. You're not allowed democracy. You're not allowed oil and gas. You're not allowed to put anything through in this country unless we say so. Get out.
Well, and the other thing is, like, I know some people who live on the reserves in Manitoba, and like the chief and council get the money and then dole it out. And they actually use that as a method of control as well. Like if you don't go where they want or toe the line the way they want, they'll cut you off and then you're screwed. So a lot of the people, even if they would want independence, can't because chief and council controls the money.
This is why they don't mind being used as token puppets for the government anytime that this has to happen, because the grift folks never freaking ends. Look, it gets worse. According to the most recent publicly available numbers, Minuscule First Nations has $145 million in the bank. The band has received $341 million from the Canadian federal government for a community with 173 people living on reserve, listed in 43 separate court cases already in Canley. Here comes another court case against Alberta. Another list showing the same figures. 461 registered as population as April of 2026. Registered males on their own reserve, 88. Registered females on own reserve, 85. And they're getting $341 million. Look at this. Financial assets from the Cree First Nations. Restricted cash. Accounts receivable, inventory, work in progress, investment in nation business entities, $93 million. Land claim assets, $34 million. Minisou Cree, whatever, trust investments, $44 million. Community trust, $237,000. Total of assets, $202 million. Liabilities, accounts payable, $2 million. Agricultural benefits claim member distributions payable, $28 million. Deferred revenue, $19 million. Long-term debt, $6 million. Net financial assets, $145 million out of your pockets, folks.
For a year.
So while Mark Carney says we're not going to build pipelines unless they agree to the blood guilt, unless you bow down and kiss the ring, this is why every Albertan right now should be saying, hey, Mark Carney, go blow it out your ass. We're leaving. This is why Danielle Smith should be standing up when she makes her announcement and says, look, we tried talking about a sovereign Alberta within a united Canada. I pushed forever, but I frickin' warned you guys that if you didn't get your shit together, you would have a unity crisis on your hands. Congratulations, it's here. And those grifters who held up the petition of 300,000 Albertans, those lying snake pig chiefs should get out with the rest of Canada. They should pack their bags and leave. I understand they're allowed to decide if they want to live on the land. Let the First Nations stay on the land. You're telling me with $341 million, you can't give your people clean drinking water, you assholes? Look after your bloody people. Quit counting your bills. Greedy pricks. And then you're going to tell me I'm not allowed to vote. You're going to tell 300,000 other Albertans, you're not allowed to vote because I got my feathers on my head and I'm making you feel guilty because you took my land 300 years ago. We didn't know what we were signing. Too bad. It's over. You pack your bags and leave. Chief Alan Adam, by the way, was just looking at a multi-million-dollar house in Toronto or around Toronto recently. Yes, in Ontario. In Ontario, and he's the guy who shows up all the time to say that oil should be shut down in Alberta because it's giving his people cancer. That's the guy who was on TV. Oh, my people are getting cancer from the oil. He's taking a big check and buying a multi-million-dollar home near Toronto. And he's going to tell you what you can do in Alberta? I don't think so. Let the First Nations thrive here that actually want to be a part of a republic, and those chiefs can pack their bags and get the hell out of here and go grift somewhere else. Keep in mind, chiefs, that when we vote to leave, you have three choices. The obligations stay with Canada, or the obligations move to Alberta, or your people get a brand new deal. If the chiefs want their obligations to stay with Canada, keep getting those tax dollars from Canadians. You're not getting them from Alberta. And you're not going to intervene in our oil sands anymore. And you're not going to tell us that we can't frack, or that we can't ship our oil out, or that we can't have jobs, or that we can't vote, or that we can't live. And you're not going to say that your people can't have clean drinking water, because all that shit ends as soon as October 20th rolls around. You hear me? It's done. I'm not going to feel guilty for saying that, because I've sat on my knees my entire life and been told that I have to show some form of regret for things that people did 300 frickin' years ago. Not happening. I wasn't a part of that. I don't want to be a part of that. If you want to join my society and work for a living and see what it's like to have half your paycheck gutted by the federal government, be my guest. But you don't get to take $340 million out of my pocket and tell me I got to sit down and shut up and I'm not allowed to exercise my right to a vote. Kiss my white naked ass. I'm getting a vote October 19th.
To put it in terms they could understand, Skoden.
Yep. Hands down. God, I've left these supers sitting for so long. Steve with a $5 super. I think some good old boys need to have a heart-to-heart talk with Danielle, just saying.
No.
Or no, I think that was with
Janice.
Janice.
Yeah.
Janice. Yep. Thank you for the $5 super. Rob with a $10 super. I don't think conservatives will get in again. Liberals will continue to bring those who benefit them. We already lost Toronto. If Nenshi gets in, they'll bring them here too. They're already starting to try.
We lost a lot more than Toronto, let me tell you.
Yeah. Con being a member for 10 months. Thank you so much. Did the school authorize that they should be disciplined? Yes, they did. Obviously they did. So yeah, I agree wholeheartedly. Maple Kitty with a $7 super. Of course, there's climate change. Still 10,000 plus years until we're out of the ice age. There you go. Thank you so much for the $10 or for the $7 super. Steve coming in with the $10 super. Allegedly, I like the cut of your gym. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Snow coming in with a $5 super. Start doing land acknowledgements for Homo sapiens taking this land from the Neanderthals. I think, that should be the way it goes, but I don't like doing any kind of guilt.
I have a question.
Acknowledgements.
Why is it only white, to use the word, countries like Canada, like the US, like the UK that are expected?
It's funny you think we're a white country.
Well, you know what I mean, though. Originally, that are expected to acknowledge us. Why do people in Mexico speak Spanish? And they're proud of their Spanish heritage. People in Mexico didn't speak Spanish until Spain got there. Why do people in Brazil speak Portuguese? Why is this not happening in either of those places?
We've conditioned people in this country to be ashamed of where they come from, ashamed of their roots, ashamed of their religion, ashamed of Christianity. You see the government right now trying to shut down the Christian Bible by saying it's hate speech. They want you to be ashamed. They want you to hate your country. They want you to feel blood guilt when you go to hockey games and the NHL says, we're going to do a land acknowledgement. Stop giving them $300 for a seat at an NHL game and tell them they can go bankrupt if they're going to pander to the First Nations chiefs who suck the money out of your pockets. Sorry, I haven't gone to an NHL game in years, and I won't go as long as they're doing land acknowledgements.
Every time I go to one of my daughter's concerts or plays or something at the school, there's a land acknowledgement beforehand.
You know what? Every time that happens, I go, Jesus. And I shake my head. Yes, folks who say I'm not a Christian. I get frustrated. And I sit in those things and I ask the teachers all the time, why are we doing this? Why do we have blood guilt in here? Blood guilt? Yes, it's blood guilt. Why are we pandering when we have these? Do you know how well off their chiefs are? Well, their people suffer. Then tell their chiefs to get their act together.
Even the people.
That's not our problem.
The First Nations people don't like the land acknowledgements either. They're like, this
why
is
don't
stupid.
they acknowledge when they go to those events? Why aren't the schools acknowledging all the parents who are broke because their jobs don't pay them anything so that their kids can continue going to school and being a part of these programs? The parents who literally pinch their pennies in order to pay those school fees. Why aren't they acknowledging those parents who are giving all their tax dollars to these First Nations? It's insulting. It's insulting. Stop doing that shit. We're done with it. Steve Jensen, $10 super. Carbon capture was easily Big Five oil ideas and would pay for it over time. Ads estimated $10 to $15 increase barrel, making it almost unmarketable. And oil companies are unwilling to invest. Yeah, I hear you. And what I heard was over time it could produce some kind of a benefit, but it's non-beneficial. We've already seen that. Companies don't want to move forward with it. Look at Dutchie coming in and slapping it down. Plus, the natives get a piece of every company that works in oil and gas and potash. You won't get a contact unless you have native affiliation. It's all blood money. They get a chunk of out of everything. Yeah, they do. Thank you so much for that very generous super.
Back to the story from earlier. I was doing work up north, and they would truck these prefab houses up there, and you couldn't put the flooring in before that because it would all break as it was moving on the trailer. And part of the deal was you had to hire some locals to do some of the work, and they got them to do the subfloor before I went to put the floor down. And we'll just say that the quality was not there.
Par.
We'll call it that. It literally added hours to each house I had to do to fix it.
Unbelievable. Look at Carson throwing down another 10 unacceptable Fringe memberships to the Patriots Club. Carson, thank you so much for your generosity tonight. You've been incredible. Norman coming through with $28 super. The problem is people here can't wake up anymore, but do you remember the 300 and some thousand that did their vote or sign a petition? Maybe did their best or sign a petition? I don't know.
I'm not sure.
We are the sign never voted before. I'm assuming he's talking about the people who signed the petition for Stay Free Alberta, and people aren't waking up to it. This is again, and I'm going to bring it in, folks, because I'm a jerk. I'm a jerk and I love to grift. I grift almost as much as the First Nations, but it's for a good cause. This is why we want people to buy these shirts. The I Support Alberta Independence with the 10 rules and the reasons Alberta should leave on the back. Grab those ones. Grab our veteran shirts, the Veterans for Independence. If you're a veteran, again, I will put the people keep saying in the videos, where's the link? Because they click the little squares of products that are below the channel. I'll put it here in the chat for you guys. Here's the link for the store. If you guys want to go over and grab one, all proceeds are going towards the referendum or for our veterans. We won't be taking a penny, but we want the conversation started. So people need to wake up. We need to start talking to people. You guys know John Talking with Albertans, Alberta Patriot. He's been on the channel before. I met up with him yesterday in Spruce Grove, and we tried to do a Talking with Albertans piece that's going to show up on his channel. I didn't want to live stream it. I didn't want to do anything while we were together because I didn't want to infringe on what he was doing. But I think I have a clip of when I got to, because he was doing a live stream before I pulled up, but to make it, to make a nice story for it, we spent about an hour walking around this Jubilee Park in Spruce Grove, and we were looking for people to ask, what do you think about Alberta independence? And the funny thing was, he was getting frustrated because we couldn't really find anybody who was posing an argument. Every single person we talked to before he started recording was pro-independence. So there was nobody really arguing. So we just kind of turned it into an interview with Unacceptable Fringe.
But
hang on here. Let me pull up. I'll just pull up where I came in on the stream. I hated the way I looked. He's got like a wide angle lens on his camera. I look a lot bigger here than I actually am. I told Mrs. Fringe, I got to get to the gym. I got to start doing something. I really hated the way I looked. There we are.
no audio. I don't know if that's what you're going for. Derek.
What's that?
There's no audio. I don't know if that's what you're
Oh, there was no audio. Oh, okay. Okay. Let me remove it. I'll bring it back in. I'll bring it back in. There should be audio. I had the audio on there. We had us talking to Albertans. And then I pulled up and we chatted for a few seconds before John ended the stream.
Hey, kid, I'm live streaming.
There we go.
Do you want me to show your car on?
Oh, it doesn't matter. Hi, how are you? How is everybody? Good to see you here.
I told you I wasn't making this up.
Hey, man.
Hey,
good to see you finally in
Oh,
person.
there's like 30 people.
Good to see. I wish I would have known. I would have shouted it out earlier. I just saw that you were here. So.
No. What I started doing is live streaming just as a way to reach out to my audience because I'm like, I get a bit of anxiety before I make videos.
Oh, okay.
Like, what am I going to talk about? So then this kind of just, and it's also a meaningful way to engage with them.
Live's the best way to go. It's good to see everybody here. How you guys doing? Welcome to Spruce Grove.
Welcome to Spruce Grove.
Well,
okay.
Should we go for a walk?
Okay. Hey, so I'm just going to quickly look at all the comments here, guys. Oh my God.
So John went through the comments. We went through Spruce Grove and we couldn't find any Albertans who really had anything negative to say about independence. He got one guy on camera, I believe, when he was filming, and same thing. He was just passing by while we were doing an interview with Unacceptable Fringe, and he said, he says, "How do you feel about Alberta independence?" And the guy said, "Go Alberta." And he's okay, all right. There was literally nobody arguing, and it was actually really nice to see. it was good to see, but that's kind of the gist around Spruce Grove. The rural cities, the rural towns aren't really the problem. And that's what I was talking to John about. And you'll see it when his video comes up later this week. We had a long talk about this needs to be a discussion in the cities. Was that my Camaro? Yes, that was the Camaro. I don't know if I was really happy about it being on camera. People call it, what was it? My daughter called it, because I always said it was like a Batmobile, or it felt like a Batmobile. She says it's the unacceptable. Instead of unacceptable, it was the unacceptable. Maybe I should have got that on the license plate. Nonetheless, we talked about how important it is that the cities get in these conversations. We're going to try and do something with creators, not only over the summer, but in the coming weeks, going to cities. I'm going to work with John. We're going to work with other creators. I've been telling, and this is a shout out to any creator that's watching this channel in Alberta, whether it's PJ the Belt, whether it's John Bolton, whether it's Berta Proud Dad, Chris Scott, any of those guys. We all need to get together and go into the cities. All of us stream at the same time, massive multi-stream, and talk with people about independence. We have this platform for a reason. We need to put egos aside. We need to start using this platform as a tool to make sure people see why Alberta needs to leave Canada. We need to start making sure we're pushing the narrative as hard as we can.
You should set up a change my mind table at the Pride Parade.
I'm not going to go that far. We don't want to make, so that's the thing, is that we're not here to troll. We don't want to make people mad. The whole point is to start reasonable conversation. But what I want to do is start finding ways. And what I said to John was start holding venues where we maybe try to rent out somewhere where we tell those who are against independence, come to this venue. Talk to us about why you don't support independence. Talk to us about why you're against it. And actually have a discussion. Are you going to change those people's minds? Probably not. But those who come out of curiosity might hear a thing or two that start to get them on the discussion of, okay, maybe things aren't working in Alberta.
A lot of people in the chat really liked my idea.
Do they? Of course they do. There's Dutchie with a $70 super. The natives use the tar sands to seal their canoes and everything needing waterproofing. Use their hands, fished out of the rivers where all this tar sand has been for centuries. I mean, but they'll protest against it to no end because foundations come in and give the chiefs a big check. That's the problem. It's not about the livelihoods of First Nations. It's that their band leaders are just as corrupt as our politicians. They take all the money, their people get nothing. We need to work with First Nations that agree with independence to start coming out. And I want to find a way to reach out to that. I might talk to Jeff Rath since he knows a lot of the First Nations folks through his work. Maybe see if we can get a group of First Nations together that want to be on live stream, that want to talk about why it's beneficial, not necessarily go to a reserve because, you know, we're not allowed there. But to maybe start talking with some First Nations people as to why they believe independence is necessary, why they support independence. In fact, the very first meeting I went to in regards to independence was when Rebel News did what they called the Done Getting Screwed campaign, which was right after Danielle Smith warned Pierre Poilievre, warned Mark Carney about the unity crisis around this time last year, or just before the federal election. And there was a First Nations guy there at that meeting screaming about how this had to come, how we had to make sure independence passed the mark. His people needed to get a better deal. We need to start showcasing that stuff to the public because you always see the virtue signalers and the fart huffers coming out saying, well, you're on their land. It's their oil. They shouldn't have to leave Canada if they don't want to. The more we start getting them to speak up and the more we start getting them involved, those who support, the more it diminishes their argument. That's Absolutely. What we have to do is fight fire with fire.
I've seen a few fairly big First Nations accounts on X talking about independence and supporting it. So
maybe we'll start reaching out to them and seeing even if we can get some of those guys on the show.
Yeah.
And we'll start talking to people.
Sure.
Dawes with a $2 super. My birthday is October 18th. It'll be awesome. Birthday present. I hope it is. I really hope it is. Thank you for the super. Steve Jensen with a $5. Too bad they won't drill a water well with water treatment. Well, with $340 million, I'm sure you could get one. There's Mr. Alberta. Shout out to him. $5 super. I've had fun making memes today about Tommy being the hero who triggered Alberta independence referendum. The feds are going to lose their minds. They are, and it's going to be so much fun to watch over the summer. I can't wait.
It's been pretty fun today.
Pretty fun. Can't wait. Thank you for the $5, Mr. Alberta. Maple Kitty with a $7 super. Looking at how much the Enoch Reserve made off of the casino. I'm sure it's quite a bit. I don't know where I'd find that, but I'm sure it's quite a bit. Maple Kitty with another $7. Did you look into actual Fringe vodka? I sent info last week. I reached out to them. I haven't heard back. Throw a 1 in the chat if you guys want some of that Russian Fringe vodka. We'll get it made. Steve Jensen with a $2 super. You look just fine. I appreciate it. Look, guys, it's kind of like, I told the wife the other day, it's kind of like Shallow Hal. If you've ever seen that movie, like I see myself one way and then I get on a camera and it's like, ooh, I don't like that. Like, I like who I am. I like how I feel. In fact, for any of those, I see it in the comments all the time. People are like, not to be a jerk. I just care about your health, but you should blah, 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 blah. A lot of the reason that I look this way, and not to make excuses, it's medications. I take certain medications that destroy my metabolism. I only ingest about 1,000 to 1,500 calories a day. I can't lose weight to save my life. And I've been to the doctor recently. My blood pressure is at an all-time low. All my readings are low. But I just don't like the way I look. So we're actually talking with the doctor about ceasing some of those medications so I can maybe knock some of this off, because it's getting a little, not to get into personal stuff on stream, but
I work out really hard 4 days a week, but I also am not afraid to crush an entire medium pizza. So it is what it is.
Well, Mike Kelly with a $2 super. I actually had a video of John myself. That's awesome. He's a great guy. I really enjoy talking with him. I love that he listens. And it's the one thing that we tried to hit home on that interview as well. We've been talking to people for months and months. Now's the time to listen to them. Now's the time to hear what they have to say and move forward.
Dad, we can't say that in the stream.
Teresa Freedom with a $5 super. I would like to see you all at a talking in the park with all of you. We're going to try to arrange something. But we want to make sure that we get people out there too that don't support independence. That's the whole point of it, right? It's good to have the cheer squad there, but we want to make sure we get those who actually feel like speaking their opinions, not causing violence, not calling names, but those who are prepared to have a discussion. That's what we need. Humble Hungarian with a $2 super. What about getting a float for the Calgary Stampede? So you have to do those things months and months in advance. There's no way for us to do that. I even mentioned with Mike on Monday, it's too bad we didn't get in early enough. We could have done like a chuck wagon for independence or something like that at the Stampede, because they sell those tarps. They have an auction. I think it's usually around January, February they do those things. Aaron from Alberta, member for 20 months. It's been a great journey with y'all. I truly appreciate your videos, your guests, the hosts. Keep up the great work. This is the best community by far.
Yeah.
Thank you. We'll just keep it going. Thank you so much. Snow with a $5 super. I might know a venue in Calgary that would be interested in hosting. Snow, send me an email, unacceptablefringeyt@gmail.com if you get that figured out, and we'll see what we can get set up. Steve Jensen with a $5 super. New camera like yours showed up today. Think I might need an instructor. You know, I'm still playing around with the cameras. Steve Jensen bought us a new camera for live streaming. And John, talking with Albertans, talked to me about a mic that's really good for live streaming as well. So we're getting some upgrades to give you guys better live streams out in the open. I'm looking forward to those things. I'm going to have to play around with that camera too a bit, Steve. I haven't had much of a chance lately, but maybe I'll do some outdoor random live streams, either walking with you guys out getting some exercise, or maybe out on the back deck. We'll sit at the fire table and just kind of chill and hang out and take questions from you guys or something. But I'm going to start breaking that camera in a little bit for summer so that we can make sure it's up and running for when Matt's here, and we can film some on location footage during the summer while he's down here visiting.
Some location.
Absolutely. Matt, what else do we have to talk about? Because I know you had a lot of things lined up.
Well, I mean, we can talk about a couple more little things, or we can go into Q&A. It's 9:34.
No, let's get into it. Let's put it in more. You had something about our privacy.
Yeah.
There's something about our privacy.
Yeah.
That was really big that I said bring onto the show tonight.
So the police in Ontario are using what's called an on-device investigative tool. That's a fancy name for a spyware device, which can remotely activate microphones, cameras, and access encrypted messages on cell phones. And the secrecy is so extreme that they are dropping cases rather than admitting that they have this technology and that they're using it. So, and you always say, like, remember the movie Enemy of the State that came out in like 1999, and they had all this crazy stuff, and you're like, whatever the government actually has, it's way worse than this. And like they use stingrays. For anybody who doesn't know what a stingray is, it basically acts like a cell tower, and they park it in areas, and it basically makes everybody's phone connect to that instead of the tower, and it siphons up everything that goes through it. And now they have a new thing that they can drive around with, and it will remotely activate your camera or your microphone and access your encrypted messages on your
Unbelievable.
phone, which is
so didn't they try to push a bill on this and it didn't go through, but they're doing it anyway.
C22, is it C22? I can't remember.
I
There's
believe
so many. There's so many of them. I get confused on the numbers. But basically, like all these different companies, like different VPNs. Yeah, C22. Yes, there we go. That's the one we're talking about. So many different companies like security, data services, VPNs, and all that are threatening to pull out of Canada if C22 passes. And Big Gary was like, "Oh, we didn't mean it like that. It's big misunderstanding. Please give me your gun."
Not Big Gary.
Why you know bring the gun to me and then I give you $25 gift card to Tim Horton?
Do not redeem it! Do not redeem it! Do not redeem it! Why you redeem it?
I mean, at the end of the day,
there's such a massive blowback on C22 that they're like, "Oh, sorry, we didn't mean it like that," and they're going to reword it. They're still going to try and get through what they want to get through, but this is what they're doing already before that even passes.
Unbelievable. So,
and yes, I saw somebody mention it in the chat. They were using it on the Freedom Convoy when they were flying that spy plane in circles above the Freedom Convoy.
So Dutchie was saying there's no buy me a coffee. Maybe I missed it in the description. Let me pull that up for anybody who wants to do it. Keep in mind, I usually have buy me a coffee in there. YouTube takes their cuts for live streams. It's roughly 30% anytime a super chat comes in. If you guys head over to buy me a coffee, we get to keep almost all of that. I just noticed we hit 161,000 subscribers. Thank you to everybody who did that. Everybody who's joining the channel.
We love you all.
Let me get the link for buy me a coffee for anybody who wants to contribute to that. I hate asking for contributions on stream, but with the censorship that's happening on YouTube, and I've done a few workarounds, I think it's starting to get better. But with the censorship that's happening, any help is appreciative at this point because it helps keep the lights on. So we never ask for it, but it's always appreciated. If you ever want to send anything, here's a link in the chat at buymeacoffee.com/unacceptablefringe. You can always send it over there. And again, I am able to distribute giveaways through there that way. Anytime we do t-shirt giveaways, anytime we need to get equipment upgrades, that's where it all comes from. So we get to keep more of it. And yeah, Dutchie, I appreciate it. Thank you so much. There's the link for you in the chat if you need it. Sorry, it's not in the description. That's my bad.
I got one more real fun
It's
one.
crazy when you look at C22 and when you look at everything, like again, Mark Carney tonight saying that the MOU is basically dead. Like again, we had a viewer earlier saying, why aren't people waking up? Why aren't people understanding? These are the things we have to point out when talking to them. Is this where you want to live? Is this really what you want going on in your country? The corruption, the crime, the immigration, the unaffordability, the lifestyle choice. Matt, you had something about the airports smuggling substances so that they can continue their crime sprees. Here, check this out, folks. You're never going to believe this.
Innocent Canadians are landing abroad and getting arrested for substance smuggling because airport insiders at Toronto Pearson, so these are the people that work at the airport, like your baggage handlers, are switching people's luggage tags onto suitcases full of substances. At least 17 victims in 1 year. Destinations include countries where substance smuggling can mean the death penalty. This is the tip of the iceberg. How is this happening inside our airports? Well, I'll tell you, because certain industries will say new arrivals gravitate towards, and luggage handlers and airport staff is definitely one of them. And so 17 people in the last year have had their baggage tags switched at Toronto Pearson to suitcases full of stuff and been arrested when they landed.
Unbelievable. Yeah. Unbelievable. Is this really what you want to live in, folks? Like, I hate having to sound like doom and gloom all the time. I hate having to sound like the harbinger of negativity all the time. But when you look at all, like, again, give me a reason to stay in Canada at this point. Tell me a reason to stick around. I see people asking, why aren't you talking about the data centers? We did talk about the data centers before. Look, I don't really have an issue with the data centers as long as they're not using the power grid. as long as they're not using our power grid to run them.
Yeah.
That's the issue.
I
And I
understand
know
why
Mark
they're
Carney's
building
announcing
them
more.
in cities. Like, build them up north where it's cold. Half of the power they need is for cooling. Like, build it up north somewhere where it's cool all the time anyway. Like, we're not putting that genie back in the bottle. The AI is here. The data centers are here.
Which link are you guys needing, Dutchy? He said somebody put the link in the chat. Are we talking about buy me a coffee again? Here, I'll put it back in there for anybody who needs it. If that's the link you're talking about, there it is in the chat for you guys. It just blows my mind that this is one of the things, like, so when I was doing my interview with John, and he said, you know, how do people in Canada feel? Because he says, you know, he started watching me after the convoy days. And he says, you know, you used to be a federally run channel. You used to talk about Pierre all the time. You talk about Trudeau. You talk about all these things. And yes, because we wanted to fix Canada. All of us wanted to fix Canada. We just wanted it to be a better place and for us to have jobs and for us to be able to pay our bills. But we saw that the Liberals were playing dirty pool and it didn't go that way. And he said, how do people feel that you don't talk about that anymore? And I've said, look, I love Canada. I still love my country. But the problem is the government won't help us. The government isn't allowing us to love our country. And we have this golden opportunity at our feet. And not only do I cover Alberta because it's the opportunity of a lifetime for us to actually get away from not only the Liberals, but to get away from the corrupt system, to rewrite a new system. But the reason we cover it so much on this channel isn't because I'm so diehard for Alberta independence or that it's all about what I'm interested in. I'm covering it because our country's breaking apart. Like, you would think more people would be concerned about it. And it's funny because I talked to Master of Snatch, I talked to other people who live out east in Canada, and they say, nobody's talking about it out here. He says, nobody brings it up. Why? Your country's breaking apart. Like, you think you'd care about that. But that's where I say there's a difference in culture between the West and the East. Keith Wilson's talked about it a million times. It's two different parts of the world.
And I have too. Like, you can't govern the streets of Toronto the same way you govern the fields in Saskatchewan. You can't govern the fishing dudes on the East Coast the same way you govern the oil fields in Alberta. It's different people, different cultures. That's why Europe has, like, people in Germany, like, they're smaller than a province, but Germany is distinct from France, from Belgium, from Holland, from the UK. Like, Canada is so big and the areas are so distinct. Like, the centralized authority can't make blanket laws that affect all of us, which is what they've been trying to do.
Unbelievable. We got some more supers to get out of the way, and then we'll do some Q&A. We got Teresa coming in with a $5 super. The RCMP had stuff like that on the ostrich farm. They were into my phone and email all the time. Unbelievable.
Yeah, they've been doing it for years.
Humble Hungarian $5 super. Okay, I just took my temp and I have a fever. Well, you paid for it. So
guess what? I got a fever. And the only prescription is more cowbell.
Thank you very much for the $5 super. We got Mikey with the $2 super. How? I tell two people a day about your channel, LFG. Thank you, Mikey. I see. That's what I appreciate.
Those are rookie
People,
numbers. You got to pump those
people
numbers
always
up.
say, well, people always say, how can we help the channel? Like if you're getting suppressed, how do we help the channel? I'll tell you right now, folks, when you watch our videos, I know a lot of people skip through the videos or they say, I'm going to get to the talking point. Let them run. If you want to just look at your phone, check your emails, whatever, if you find what I'm talking about boring, let the videos run from beginning to end. It's the biggest help you can give this channel. Because YouTube now measures based on how much people are watching out of a video. So that helps the channel more than anything. So if you're a diehard Fringe fan, just make sure you're watching the entire substance of a video. That helps us greatly. If you're enjoying it. I'm not allowed to tell you what to do to get around the system, but if you're enjoying it. David Anderson, $2 super. Sound like Communist Canada with the spyware. Yeah, and that's what it is. Carson gifting another 10 unacceptable Fringe memberships to the Patriots Club. Carson, you're on fire tonight. Thank you. My God, welcome. That's 30 new members of the Patriots Club tonight from Carson. Thank you so much.
Yeah,
and Dutchy
damn.
with $14 super. If we hit 1,200 likes, Derek, you can give away a shirt or two if you have time. I actually can't tonight. However, Dutchy, I'm sure, got us a coffee to give away more shirts. Here's what we'll do, folks. The shirts are on delay because I can't order anymore and get them to people in a reasonable time frame. I've been told by tomorrow or Friday morning that should be fixed. So if you're ordering those shirts, order them now But if I order them for myself, they put those orders to the side from actual orders. So I can't reorder until at least Friday. But Friday we'll do a giveaway courtesy of Dutchie by the looks of it. So thank you very much for that, Dutchie. Huge turnout tonight. Let's get a big turnout like this on Friday as well.
Mike, we can't say that.
$2 from Mike. Was this all conspiracy by Thomas Lukaszuk? We don't know. We don't know. Mike, you're going to get me banned. Stop
That's a Matt original. I texted him that today. He's like, I'm stealing it.
Steve Jensen with a $5 super. Graphene OS is an open source secure operating system with Android app compatibility, formerly known as Copperhead
Okay,
OS.
I remember Copperhead. So it's called
It's good to
now.
know. Good to know. Major Flip with a $5 super. There's a paid app you can use for chat and video. It has military encryption. It's unhackable. Been using it for years. I'm assuming that's what Steve Jensen was talking about.
That was a browser. Or sorry.
Oh, that was a browser, an operating system.
For your phone.
What do we got for Q&A?
Who's got
What do we got for
question?
Q&A? Matt's purring, according to Paniner.
God.
Paniner has a lot of fantasies about Matt. It's
He
kind of
asked,
creepy. It's
he
borderline
said,
creepy.
did you see earlier in the chat? He's like, Matt, send me a picture of your feet. No, Paniner, no.
See, look, every time I say I'm not going to acknowledge, you'll notice I never bring up your chats. I never bring them up. I've been ignoring the Mankini stuff because I've been wanting it to stop. It's like
months.
whipping a dead horse. It's done. It's over. Will you stream referendum night? Yeah.
Well, we'll be
Who
there in
wouldn't?
person, dancing on.
And if I say stop with the Mankini stuff, it's just going to happen even more. But it's like whipping a dead horse. Come on, guys. Come on.
Okay. Do we have any real questions?
Do we have real questions? When's the next big gathering? So, what's labeled for the rest of the country is Canada Day, which we now call Alberta Day. I think we should name it like Freedom Day or something. We're going to be over at the Whistle Stop in Mirror, Alberta. I will be there with Matt. I know Chris Scott obviously is going to be there. Mike will be there, and he'll get mad if I don't say that. But Mike and his wife will be there. I'm sure they'll be selling their goods with their booth like they do. They got a market there every year, folks. They got booze, they've got food, they've got camping, they've got everything there. I'll be up there.
His goods.
Mike's going to sell his goods. He might even let you handle his goods for a little bit if the price is right. But we're going to be up there for a while chatting with people. I don't think I'll be live streaming because I don't know how the reception is up there. And quite honestly, folks, sometimes it's just nice to go to an event and be able to talk to people. If I'm live streaming, I won't have a chance to really chat with folks. So I may or may not be live streaming, or maybe we just get some video footage while we're there. Either way, we'll find some way to do it. Yes, slow roll this weekend in Edmonton. Al Burton sent me a bunch of information. I'm going to promote that on Friday. So it's nice and fresh for everybody going into the weekend. So stay tuned for those announcements.
Did they do the second one?
Have you heard any more about the debate with Keith and Jason Kenney? Yeah, they're doing it on the 25th.
Oh, okay. So that's 5
that's
days.
in 5 days. 5 days next week. Keith will be. I haven't heard anything more. I've heard clips will be arriving on YouTube at some point. I don't know if there's an agreement with Max over at Freedom Calendar. I put the feelers out to anybody who was going to allow me to stream, and I didn't hear back, so I didn't want to push. Because I really didn't want to say, hey, I'm coming down there, I want to stream. And then Jason Kenney backs out or something and says, I don't want right-wing influencers filming this or whatever. I didn't want to give Keith any trouble. So sadly, I will not be there. It's sold out. There's Major Flip. We'll get to Green Giant after. Major Flip, $5 super. The app is called Threema. It's a peer-to-peer. So there you go, folks. For anybody wanting to encrypt things, lock it down. Thank you very much, Major Flip. Appreciate it as always. Green Giant coming in. What happens to the federal government employees if we leave? Many are concerned with other jobs and maybe have trouble supporting independence. So I'm very glad you brought that up.
Republic employees of the Republic of Alberta, because all the institutions still have to exist. Like, it's not like the government just disappears.
It's part of what Keith Wilson has tried to explain many times that, look, we all know that the government is bloated, it's overinflated. However, starting a new republic would take a lot of people. I'm assuming those folks would have options if they wanted to stay on board. It would just be a transition. It's just like when a company buys another company. You know, you don't necessarily stop going to your job. It just switches who's paying you. I imagine a lot of those jobs would transition over. Keep in mind again that if you vote for independence, it's not like, you know, October 19th we vote for independence and on October 20th we're a republic. If it passes, you still have the negotiations, and I'm sure it would have to go to a unilateral declaration of independence because we all know the federal government wouldn't want to come to the table and negotiate fairly. However, there's a transition period. For anybody worried about things, I always say, go look at what happened with Brexit. And I know it's not like the best comparison, but people say, what about the financial collapse? What about investments? What about all the banks? What about people's jobs with the government? Nothing really was affected by Brexit. They had time to transition it all over and everybody was okay. Anytime you hear in the mainstream media them saying, oh, you're going to lose your jobs, we're going to lose investment, the reason they're saying all those things is because it scares people. It works. Fear is a huge weapon in any political campaign. They're now going to use it in the referendum. So when they're bringing those things up, they know it's because if they scare you enough, oh, I might lose my job. Oh, I might lose my investments. Oh, I might have to switch my mortgage, or I might lose my house because my mortgage is with a Canadian bank. They're going to do everything to scare you. What you got to tell people is constantly look at what happened with Brexit. Brexit, everybody was fine. Everything worked out fine. Just like Y2K. Do you guys remember that? God, I can't believe I'm referencing that. Everybody thought Y2K on midnight, New Year's Eve, the whole world's going to implode. Everything was fine. Everything was fine. Yeah, I get the UK got railed in Brexit. I'm talking that everything turned out okay. People weren't living in the streets. There wasn't anybody leaving their houses overnight. Snatches. I hate when people want straight up, like to the point facts. It's like, we're allowed to say in generalizations, not just to the, I'm not even gonna, because I know Snatch will be texting me after the show. Hey, what's up? Let's talk about it. Oh man, you sure got mad and pissed off. I'm not gonna. Hi, yikes. Things turned out fine. It is awful in the UK.
Yeah,
but people turned out fine. The government jobs aren't leaving. Nobody's going anywhere. Your pensions are fine. Your old age security is fine. Everything's fine.
It's not awful in the UK because they left the European Union. There's lots of other reasons why it's awful in the UK.
Plenty of other reasons.
4-hour podcast all by itself.
Yeah. Do we have any other questions that aren't going to cause me to completely implode on Snatch? Let's. They are, and you know what? I hope things go well for them. I hope things go well for them.
No, I can't even say what I want them to do on there.
Nope, I can't either. KG says, actually, if the vote goes through and we win independence, we're independent from that day forward. Yeah, but what I'm saying is it's not, again, people want it to the T. What I'm saying is your government job doesn't just cease all of a sudden and you no longer work for the federal government. It's not that, offices close or the dollar changes overnight or any of that stuff. That's what we're talking about. God, I think people come in on purpose just to get me riled up. Steve Jens with a $2 super. What about referendum on a provincial gun license? Again, all of that comes with independence.
I'd say the only question that matters is independence. The rest of that is all a foregone conclusion afterwards. It's part of the
if Danielle wants to put in a gun license for Alberta, she's had the go ahead and the green light from her members for 2 years. So get on it.
Where are my machine guns, Derek?
Yeah, it'll be a transition to the new country. There you go. There you go. Live stream when Smith calls for the referendum. Oh, will I be doing that? Probably not, because it's going to be a very brief press conference. It's not going to be like, you got to remember when she calls a referendum, she's going to be attacked instantly. So she's not going to stand there for half an hour listening to lefty media outlets trying to smear her. She'll probably just make the announcement, take a couple of questions, and then say, thanks for your time. I would assume it's going to be under 15 minutes. So there's no point in live streaming it. We'll let them make their announcements, and then we'll put a video out about it. So keep your eyes peeled for that. Real excited to talk about it on Friday. I didn't mean to rile you up. No, Snatch did. It's not you. Snatch does it on purpose. I'm his lol cow in the background. He likes sitting there laughing whenever he gets my tail feathers ruffled. He's one of my closest friends, but he's also a pain in the ass, but I love him for it. Maple Kitty 279 super. Is there an update on the provincial police force? No, haven't heard anything.
Same answer to the last question.
Paniner with his love for Matt. There we go. Thank you very much for the super. Let's Let's get one more question, and then we'll wrap it up.
We got a super chat.
Humble Hungarian, $5. How far would Scotland have got if William Wallace lived in fear? Alberta needs to be free. There you go. As long as we don't get the same treatment as William Wallace, I think we're okay with it.
I'm not.
Oh, no, I mean the Alberta pension. He meant the Alberta pension. Your Alberta pension is okay. We've talked about it before. If you've contributed to Canada Pension Plan, or you're asking about the Alberta pension, is there any movement on the Alberta pension? No. Again, Danielle's got the green light for it any time. But all of those things come with independence. So the question has always arisen, what happens to my old age security? What happens to my Canada Pension Plan? It either, like, you can get, if you've contributed to the program, you can move to France and live in France once you're retired and still collect your Canada Pension Plan. It doesn't matter if Alberta's its own republic. It'll either be matched by the Alberta dollar to a greater payout, or you'll get what you've contributed to with the Canada Pension Plan.
What happens
depending on Alberta's plan?
What happens to your Canada Pension Plan if you move to France when you're retired? Same thing. It's you're just in a different country. You still get it. You're still entitled to it.
I love when people say this. You missed my question. Well, there's a million of them coming in, and the chat moves so fast. We can't always get them all. Let me scroll back and see if I can find it.
And I'm not that tired, but I am tired. I get up at 5:30. I worked a full day.
Yeah, Matt's got a full day. Not all of us are full-time YouTubers like myself.
Yeah, me and Mike both work real jobs.
Oh, it just automatically scrolled down. Karina, can you retype your question in the chat, please, so I can get to it? Where's Karina's? Karina, can you put your question in there again, please? I'll get to your question.
We'll end with her question.
We'll end with her question. Here it is again. What happens to the MPO office? I'm assuming that's the Premier's office. She can be run out of the province, or can she be? She can be run out of the province. MPO, is that meaning the Premier? I've never heard of her being referred to as the MPO.
Major Projects Office.
Oh, Major Projects Office. I thought it was the like an MP, like the Premier's office, the municipal Premier's office, whatever you wanted to call it. The Major Projects Office. The Major Projects Office.
That's federal. They can kick rocks and get out. Yeah.
So if Alberta gets its independence, the Major Projects Office is gone. If you're asking what happens to it right now, well, it's just going to stay there, and she's going to collect her $700,000 a year salary for doing nothing for Alberta. There's nobody in that office, by the way. It's empty. Rebel News took a look at it. There's nobody there. It's just a building that they've rented for the sake of saying there's an office in Calgary. It's, send them packing. Pro-independence says it best. Send her packing. Yeah, get them out of the province. We don't want them here. We don't want any communists here once we get our independence. Get out. Like, I see all these lefties. I'm going to leave if Alberta gets its independence. Good.
I support this decision.
Don't threaten me with a good time. Just please. Like, if you're going to be negative about it, if you don't want prosperity, if you don't want a better life, if you don't want to be able to pay your bills, by all means, pack up your suitcase and all your BDSM toys and go to another province and bend over for Mark Carney. I don't know what to tell you. Like, I don't know how many times you can wave a beneficial life in front of people and they'll stand there and go, I don't want it. Why? Like,
why redeem Alberta?
It's not even about politics. Like, I've had to say that to family members when I'm talking to them, because they're like, oh, you're just doing it because you're a conservative voter. Take the bloody politics out of it. Nobody's voting for conservatives here. Nobody's voting for NDP or liberals. We're not voting for the UCP. It's not for Danielle. It's for your future. That is it. Your future. Are you concerned about your future? Are you concerned about your children, the next generations, how they get by, the prosperity of where you live? That's what we're asking you, is do you give a shit to make a difference? How hard is that?
Let's go.
Unbelievable. Some people. Can we kick China out of Alberta? That's happening day one when we vote for independence. Get them out of here. Get the hell out of here. Oh, you won't make movie with us? Get out. We're not. Sunflower coming in with $7 super. Did anybody see Moose on the Loose today? He explained Carney made the MOU a business contract, not a law, which can't be changed. Is this true? Probably. That's why he did the 180. That's probably, but that's why I'm asking again. The things he put out today is his rules for it to go through. Like, this is why Danielle has an opportunity tomorrow to stand up and say, you know what, we just got bent over. We're not doing it. No more United Canada. No more sovereign Alberta and a United Canada. We're done. We're going. Nonetheless, folks, we got to wrap things up. Matt's tired. And I got to go for a walk. I got to get all this rage out. Join us Friday for Friday Night Fringe with Mrs. Fringe. It's going to be a great show. Don't forget to check out the content tomorrow and Friday on the channel. We'll be talking about Danielle's press conference as soon as it drops. We'll have other content for you here on the channel tomorrow as well. So make sure to tune in for that. Thank you to everybody who gave a super chat tonight. Anybody who went over to buy me a coffee, bought the shirts that are necessary for getting the conversation started, or anybody who donated to the channel in general, just by being here and watching the stream. We really appreciate each and every one of you. Thank you for helping us build this community. Congratulations on hitting 161,000 of you guys while we were live tonight. I look forward to seeing you Friday. From Matt and myself, have a great night, everybody. We'll catch you on the next one. Take care.